My friend reached out after years of no contact for help with her wedding.
You don't just get a waltz back in.
So for context, I, 28 female, had 2 best friends for the past 10 years. Let's call them Julia, 29 female, and Leah, also 29 female. Julia and Leah have been friends since childhood, and Julia, who I met in college, was pretty much the link between me and Leah, which means that Leah and I didn't really get along very much if it wasn't for Julia. By the way, this comes from I hate this part, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Like I said before, I became friends with Julia in college, and we clicked immediately. Our major was pretty heavy, which made us spend 12 plus hours a day every day on campus, so we bonded and soon became best friends and started spending time together after classes too. This is how I met her best friend, Leah. College was absolutely the worst for me. I was exhausted, felt worthless, and thought I would never succeed in life, while Julia was always acing, which low-key made me feel worse about myself because I thought something was wrong with me. Julia and Leah graduated before me and got jobs, while I was still figuring out how to finish my degree, considering that the vid happened during my senior year. Oy. Well, fast forward, I graduated and was very surprised to receive a call from someone 1 week after getting my results asking if I would like to work. I said yes immediately without even knowing the details. I just having in mind that I wouldn't get many opportunities, so I shouldn't be picky. Turns out it was a good offer from a big company where I'm still working until this day. But it was very demanding. For a couple of months, my only focus was making sure I kept this job, and I didn't take it for granted. For the first time in many years, I finally felt like things were going well and that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was during college. The problem is, I didn't realize that I hadn't spoken to Julia and Leah in a while. At this point, they both had quit their jobs and were trying to do some freelancing. I tried to contact them to ask how they were and how things were going. Yet I was met with very cold, short messages that kind of caught me off guard. Turns out they got upset about me disappearing and didn't understand that I had been very, very busy trying to change my whole life. Long story short, after some fights and some petty moments, I stopped talking to Julia and Leah for around 3 years. Now for the main part. 3 years later, I received a random call from Leah asking me if I was free to grab a coffee. I found it weird, but I accepted anyway just to see what she had to say. It was just me and her. We had a bit of small talk to break the ice and gave brief updates to each other about what was going on in our lives, etc. I eventually asked her why she decided to call me after so long, and she said she wanted to apologize for turning her back on me 3 years before because she got a job offer recently, and Julia acted the same way with her.
I love that OP said that I was really busy figuring out my entire life.
So I just cut all my friends off.
Yeah.
Like, I will admit, I can totally understand your friend's perspectives there.
Yeah.
She said she finally understood what I went through and that it wasn't fair. I felt a bit of relief, thinking to myself that it's good to finally be understood, even though it was late. But then she dropped the bomb and told me she was getting married and wanted me to be there. Considering I was there for her and her partner when her whole family turned their back on her because of him. It's a long story. Needless to say, I was immediately excited to receive this news. I immediately asked her if she needed help and what the plans were, etc. Well, she did need help, a lot of help. Suddenly, I was responsible for a ton of things while catering to her demands. Dance rehearsals, bridal shower, decorations, her outfits, etc. She had many plans. It was going to be a big wedding. 5 days in duration. She was not able to make one single thing happen by herself. So she would end up assigning them to 2 people, me and Julia.
I think it's so funny that she was like, I finally understand what you were going through, OP. Here you go. Here's my entire wedding planning.
Right. I finally understand when you were so overwhelmed from having so much to do. And now I'm feeling that. So take it. Julia was her maid of honor, and I was one of her 5 bridesmaids. But the majority of the responsibilities were being assigned to just us 2. It got very tiring very fast, not only because it was a lot, but also because it was very messy. She had no plans, no proper ideas. We had to think for her and execute everything while also dealing with constant changes of plans. On top of that, we had to deal with her taking it very much for granted while treating everyone else like royalty. For example, changing the selected fabric for the bridesmaid dresses at the last minute that we had already decided on just because one of the bridesmaids said she didn't like it, after Julia and I had spent a lot of time to find it. Julia and I organized her whole bridal shower while she just watched, paid for part of it, had to pay for our own dresses, 5 outfits in total, one for each day of the wedding. Yet she had the nerve to complain about my bridal shower gift by telling Julia that she expected more from me.
Wait, I'm sorry. They had to get 5 different outfits?
5. Well, so we're still not sure if this is the Indian wedding or not, too, because they would have 5 different ceremonies. They would need different outfits.
But oh wow, that's expensive. And then also she's like, and OP didn't buy me other things. That's crazy.
Well, one of the other bridesmaids didn't give her anything, yet she didn't say anything about that. Oh, I should mention that the gift I bought was a part of a list she had prepared in advance. It's not like I got her something that she didn't want. At this point, Julia and I were spending more time together, unwillingly, but we ended up being united by the frustration of being tossed around by Leah. Julia and Leah had already had a lot of fights by this time, and they were a bit bitter toward each other, but Julia was still there for her regardless. I was also trying my best to be the bigger person and wait until after the wedding to address these issues, but it was getting unbearable. I kid you not, it was so bad that out of the 5 bridesmaids she started with, only 2 remained, one of them being me. Julia gave up on being her maid of honor. Her family started turning their back on her because of details I'm not very aware of, but it was bad. Because of all of this, I felt compelled to just be the bigger person and stay for her, even though deep down I knew I wasn't doing it out of love. I knew I was being used.
Dude, this is just like 27 Dresses.
That's what we just threw this in there because we knew you watched it.
I'm like, stop.
Stop it, guys.
Stop. I just watched this.
But for me, what really got me was when I couldn't attend one of the wedding days, which wasn't really very crucial, due to being called from work for an urgent matter, and she had the nerve to tell me I was doing it because I wanted attention. She never said this to any of the other girls that gave up on her, not once. And I know this because she would always resort to me to vent about everything that was going wrong. I had reached my limit, and I told her not to mistake my kindness for care. I was very blunt with her and told her that she was lucky I hadn't turned my back on her. She kept spewing a lot of nonsense, and I had to block her. I unblocked her on the last day of the wedding, which I attended. That's wild. You've blocked them for the first 4 days of your wedding. 5th day, unblocked, you show up.
That is insane.
You're crazy for that, OP.
That's a pretty wild move. It's like, I know I blocked you that whole time, but I'm here now.
Remember me?
Remember me? I did all that stuff for your wedding.
She had to see how it turned out.
Yeah,
she planned it.
Like, I did so much stuff. I need to come.
I was the only bridesmaid there, the only friend. None of her family members were there to help. None. It was me who helped her get ready, running from one place to another to get things done, making sure she was pretty and on time. On that day, I had very, very bad cramps, and I told her, yet she made me carry a heavy box of flowers alone upstairs in a heavy dress and heels. She didn't think once to ask one of her male family members to help me. She just wanted to get it done. Oh, and on that day, she was super late because she had to get another makeup artist at the last minute. She stood up the original makeup artist she had an appointment with for 3 hours, to the point where the makeup artist had to call her out publicly on social media. The decorator was literally running away from her because she had way too many demands for a very small budget and last-minute arrangements. Anyways, the wedding was tense, but I managed to act civil. Eventually, the other bridesmaids arrived, and I left the scene. She was ready by then anyway. I left the wedding day early as I had to go to work the next day. I was expecting an apology when she came to her senses, but all I got was a text in a group chat where she thanked everybody for the help and apologized if she did something wrong. That was it. She didn't text me personally. She didn't call me. She didn't come pick me up after work like she used to do when she needed me. Just complete silence. I left it like that. It's been a year And I heard that she apologized to the other bridesmaids, but not me. And we'll never apologize for having full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. And we have another update, but what you thinking?
I mean, yeah, if someone's totally, taking advantage of all of your work and clearly doesn't really care much about you and your feelings or your needs, we don't need them in our life.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it sucks, but, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just
after a while, there was a couple of things that OP was saying that I was like, yeah, you should have probably expected that one.
Yeah, it's
Still
like
sucks.
I blocked her for 4 days and then came on the last day. No one was there, and then she expected me to do a bunch of work. The only thing I'll give her is that she had no one there to do anything.
Yeah. And on the other hand, too, eventually I think you get into that mode of, blaming the person so much. Like, when she was like, I have to carry this heavy box upstairs. She didn't ask a male to do it. You could ask someone to do it.
You could ask someone to do it, yeah.
So,
but,
we got another update. Julia and I are still united by the long-lasting frustration, and we managed to regain some of our lost friendship. Julia says I need to stop being naive and that I should have sensed something was wrong when Leah came to me only because her wedding was near. Part of me thinks she's right, but I can't say I regret it. From what I hear from others, up until this day, some of her family members don't talk to her anymore either.
Wow.
And that's the end.
Dang, man. I had an allergic reaction, and my friend thought I was making it up.
You're not actually allergic.
So I, 18 female, have a thing going on with my group of friends for pretty much all of high school that we hang out on Sunday evenings at someone's house. The host changes week to week, whoever is able to host that week. That's fun. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Dish, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, anyways, the agreed upon thing was that we all chip in like $5 for food, usually pizza and stuff. Some gave more if someone else was in a rough spot, and it always works fine. One friend, Carla's 18 female parents, own a pretty successful restaurant, so they like to cook rather than just order pizza, which is great on its own. We all still chip in $5 or so for ingredients. The problem that happened is the dad who likes to cook doesn't take criticism well and always makes something I either can't eat due to allergies or just am not into. I stopped joining in / chipping in money when they would host, so I wasn't a letdown for a while. I had definitely been as clear as an awkward girl can be about what my issues and allergies were. My family has never been very wealthy, and we ended up homeless for a while. So the hangout nights became a night I could eat something special without worrying too much. Plus, my friends were always great about sending me back with leftovers if they could. So Sunday, I decided to join in on the meal at Carla's house again. I gave money for it per usual. It turned out to once again be something I'm allergic to. I wanted to cry because essentially I wasted $5 that I could have used. Not wanting to confront them about getting the money back or being a party pooper, I ate some. Now, the allergy wasn't anaphylactic, but I broke out in hives. My face was very red and swollen. 2 more friends told me I was being an attention seeker. And someone else told me I ruined nights at Carla's house. So am I the a-hole? I didn't want this to happen at all, and I don't want to lose my friends. And there are some relevant comments, but a lot of people are saying not the a-hole. OP is 18 years old. Has been unhoused, clearly is not, has food insecurity, comes to this house, pays $5, is given something that they cannot eat, eats it because they don't want to cause a fuss
or waste the $5 that they had.
$5 because again, they are food insecure, and then everyone gets mad at them.
It's insane. What? Insane.
Stay at home babe says, info, did Clara and her dad both know what your allergies were? OP says, yes. All my friends and their parents know since I often have meals at their house. My parents have always been careful about where and what I eat. Need to know basis says, everyone sucks here. You said you didn't chip in whenever Carla hosted because her dad completely disregards your allergies. Why did you think this time would be different? Then you ate, knowing you were going to have a reaction. You should have sat this one out like you've been doing. P.S. The dad is a bigger a-hole and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They need to get over themselves. Opie says, I realized that now I should have sat out, but on Thursday when we found out Carla was going to be hosting again, I told my friends that I wanted to try it again and reminded Carla about my allergies in specifics. Cindy and Twiggy says, info, what happened the first time they made something you're allergic to? Did you remind them about it? It must be super frustrating not being able to eat. But also, if there's a larger group of you, maybe dad needed reminding of allergies in the group. Opie says, I reminded Carla the first time and after that I would remind her when it was her turn hosting. Sinead Twiggy says, everyone sucks here. You knew what happened if you ate the food, but also they should take your dietary needs into account. Maybe your folks could speak to Carla's folks. Dad needs to understand you can't eat certain things and that money is tight, so you don't want to waste it. Opie says, that's a good idea. I'll ask if they can talk to them. My mom doesn't really know what happened. I was waiting to see if it would down, but Carla hasn't spoken to me all week. And Alex is hosting this Sunday, but I don't know if I'll make it awkward by going. So I'll tell my mom in the morning. And there are more comments, so we're going to pause here.
So
yeah,
it's a rotating dinner thing.
It's a rotating dinner thing, yes.
Every other house is able to accommodate your allergies. So clearly it's nothing crazy to try to have to fix, like to adapt to. Also, there's no allergies are that hard. Like you can adapt to any allergy. Yes.
It really is
they have been reminded of said allergies. I'm sure that they know that they're having housing and food troubles. Yeah. And how do you say everyone sucks here?
I don't
kid.
Get that. I truly I understand maybe OP is an a-hole to themselves in the sense that they put themselves in danger.
Yeah.
But no one was listening to her.
Right. It's a point of such frustration that you're like, fine,
I'll eat it. Yeah, okay. You're gonna give me the stuff that I paid for and that I cannot eat. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I broke into hives.
Shocker. Yeah.
I don't think that OP is the a-hole for this. Calico Grace says everyone saying that you're a moron for eating stuff you're allergic to probably doesn't know what it's like to be really poor and desperately hungry. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry that everyone has reacted so badly. And OP says it definitely was a dumb decision on my part. I just didn't expect it to affect other people, I suppose. I didn't expect to lose friends over this. Bog Witch says, seriously, I haven't seen anyone point this out until now. What kind of friends are aware of the situation OP and their family are in and still make them contribute $5 to the group dinner every time? I know Carla's dad is apparently buying ingredients with the pooled money, but it still seems like a ridiculous amount to be charging 18-year-old kids who don't have an independent source of income if you insist on cooking versus them choosing to order a pizza. Even in the latter scenario, if I were 18 and told my not wealthy parents that my friend and their family were going through all of this, so it was really hard for them to scrape together a spare $5 for pizza with the group, they would have walked to their wallets, pulled out $20, and told me to make sure I paid for both of us and to give my friend the change to keep after. OP, are your friends from wealthy or privileged backgrounds where they can't wrap their head around your situation or something? They're extremely naive and sheltered, and what's far worse is they seem to lack any empathy. Totally not the a-hole. OP says, I know I'm late to reply to this comment, but to answer, I actually am one of the only poor kids in my friend group. Carly is, funnily enough, the wealthiest and knows it very well. Definitely makes sense here. That's partly why the friends who are upset with me are upset that I may have ruined Carla hosting since her house is extremely nice, and we usually get the whole furnished basement suite to ourselves when we go there. I only hosted a few times in the past, and everyone's probably too nice to say anything. The more I say about it, the more cliche it sounds, but I'm honestly from a rougher part of town. I just grew up with my friends through common interests. We don't usually talk about money because it's a big insecurity of mine. OP said, and then edit, okay, this has got a lot more attention than I was expecting. I'd like to clarify a few things and answer some questions. I'm not really upset at Carla or her parents. More frustrated it happened this way. I didn't want any conflict at all. I was not aware that allergies worsen with exposure, nor do I often expose myself to my allergens. It's been a long time since I've had an allergic reaction, so I admit my knowledge needs to be updated, and that's my own responsibility. Also, did they even give OP OP had a Benadryl.
got Benadryl.
Yeah, but I think they she brought it herself.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
they
have a
really
feeling,
even
though,
checked in on her.
Oh, I'm sure not. It seemed like it was a pretty quick, OP probably in anticipation that they would have their allergen that night was immediately eat it. Benadryl.
Yeah. $5 is a lot of money for me right now. To those who are asking why I would still do that, my family and I discussed that chipping in $5 was okay if I get to have a good warm meal out of it. My friends also spotted me money most weeks. This week just happened to be a full 5 week for me, if that makes sense. And then mini update, I talked to Alex and showed him this post. He supports me after a longish discussion. I went to my mom and told her as well what happened since she didn't know. She's going to be having a conversation with Carla's parents about it all. So I'll probably update when that happens if people want it. And folks, there is an update. I'm really excited for her parents to be like, you suck.
I'm so excited.
You're
for this.
feeding our child food that they can't eat
Yeah.
and making them pay $5 for it?
Ridiculous.
Not cool. 2 weeks later, folks. Hey guys. I realized I was being an a-hole to myself and shouldn't have done that. Thankfully for the people in the comments, I also realized I needed to stand up for myself and get to the bottom of what actually happened in communication about my allergies. First, I showed the post to Alex, and we had a long talk about my self-esteem and financial issues, which I rarely talk about due to insecurity. He's a really good guy. Good news, he's extremely supportive, and actually his family offered us their guest space to stay in for a while until we get back on our feet. I've got a part-time job on weekends through the holidays, and my dad started a new job about a month ago, so we're saving now. Second, I showed my parents the post, and they were disappointed in me for doing that to myself and not telling me. Understandably. They did what some suggested and met with Carla's parents to discuss things. This is all kind of messy, so I'll sum it up as best I can. So Carla's dad did have a list of my allergies before that my parents gave him years ago, which he lost when they moved houses. Apparently, Carla never gave him an updated list despite me giving them to her. She thought I was making them up. So now Carla's parents are upset with her, and her dad apologized for his lack of initiative and for scaring me. I apologize for not standing up for myself. By the way, you can stand up for yourself by listening to full episode stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Okay, one thing to clarify. They're now living in Carla's basement?
No. So
Okay.
Alex is another friend in the group, and they're
it was
living
Alex's.
with Alex.
I just missed whose basement it
Yes,
was.
yes.
I mean, sounds like you don't need Carla as a
No.
friend.
Truthfully, I would reach out to all the friends and be like, yeah, or one-on-one talk with them
Yeah.
and say,
I'm
yeah,
not
Carla
really
didn't
gonna be
believe my
friends.
allergies, so that's why,
It's probably going to be a situation where
happened.
Carla's still at dinners. Maybe you can...
I do fear that a lot of the friends are going to side with Carla because she's rich.
I do fear that as well. And they
they're
were like,
oh,
but
she's got the cool house.
her basement's so fun and we get the whole thing for dinner.
Which is crazy because they're all 18. Like, these aren't children, at all. So, really ridiculous.
But W. Alex.
W. Alex. My friend group is unfortunately still kind of fractured since I don't know if I can trust Carla anymore. Her attitude through this whole thing has not been nice, and I realize she's never cared for me as much as some of my other friends. So for now, weekly meetings are off. The friends who stuck by Carla's side during the mess still haven't really talked to me, Alex, or the other few friends in our group. Maybe that's for the best, though. I want to thank everyone who's helped me. I'm sure this will help me in future situations. I'm very thankful for outside perspective. And OP says that Carla, I didn't want to go on in the post into what she said to me after our parents' meeting and stuff because I can't believe she acted this way. I'm sad because we were friends for a while, but thankfully I found out her real feelings about me, I guess. And OP says, I don't think she's jealous. I'm pretty sure she thinks she's better than I am. She could have a crush on Alex, but I don't want to speculate. To be honest, I had a crush on him for ever, lol. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
We all knew that. You
that.
said he's pretty great.
He's
We all knew you liked
pretty
him.
great.
He's letting you stay with him and his family. He likes you, girl.
Yeah.
Lil Lucky Duck says, I'm not sure if I should comment this, but you mentioned showing your last post to some people in your life, Alex and parents, which means they might follow up again, see the post. I just don't want you to accidentally give someone the 411 on your crush if you're not ready. So true. OP says, thanks for the concern. I appreciate it. Alex already knows.
Ooh.
But neither of us is in a place for a relationship right now. He said he likes me back, but our friendship comes first. You guys like each other. Yeah,
guys
probably don't start a
like
relationship while
each
you're
other.
living together.
Yeah.
But folks, that's the end of that story.
I refuse to wear pants at home. Now my roommate's girlfriend is furious. My roommate and I have been friends since middle school, nearly 11 years, and we are very comfortable with each other. He identifies as cis and straight, while I identify as they, them, non-binary, AFAB, and queer/sapphic. By the way, this comes from Consistent AD 224, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, at no point has our friendship been anything more than platonic, going as far as both of us making the same sour face when my boss mistakenly referred to him as my boyfriend once. Needless to say, we're very comfortable with each other. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't like wearing pants. More often than not, they feel itchy and restricting, so I frequently wear a pair of boxers around the house. Typically briefs with a longer leg that could pass as really small and tight shorts. This is not the issue. Rumi and I both do this, as we have an understanding that the human body is just that, nothing to scandalize or hide away. We live in a house that Rumi owns, and I pay rent to him. A few weeks ago, he asked if I would be uncomfortable if he asked his long-term girlfriend to move in. I had no problem with this, as I've met her quite a few times, and she's absolutely lovely. Our dog, that doesn't really trust people, warmed up to her almost immediately, as did my cat and my rats. Fast forward to last week. She moves in, and we're having dinner together, her first night. We're laughing, drinking, having a good time. Then the conversation of house boundaries comes up. She wants to make sure I'm not going to be uncomfortable as I'm living with them as a couple, and wants to know my opinion on things like PDA around the house and their spicy sleep life. I told them I don't really care about PDA, as it's her house now too, and if they're going to have spicy sleep, I would prefer if it was contained mostly to their bedroom or bathroom, places I don't have to interact with and places they can easily clean. I also said I don't care if they do it when I'm home, but to keep the volume to a minimum, at the very least, low enough that I can't hear them through noise-canceling headphones.
I feel like that's just like
normal decency.
Normal, yeah. You shouldn't have to have a conversation about that.
And if they need me out of the house for an hour or two to just give me a heads up so I can make plans, then it was my turn. I asked if she was comfortable with me bringing friends/potential partners over, which she had no issue with. I asked about the pants thing, explaining the overstimulation problems I have. We're both on the spectrum, so she understood it and said she would just prefer if I didn't do it in front of her. Totally understandable, not everyone is comfortable with it, so I said I would put on a pair of sweatpants or a robe if I needed to leave my room while she was home. A few days ago, I was home alone making dinner in the kitchen when she came home from work early. Everyone in the house works in some sort of medical field with a very set schedule and routine, so this was a surprise for sure. I didn't hear her coming in the door in time to get to my room and pull something on, but luckily I was wearing an oversized sweatshirt. I quickly pulled it down to try to cover up at least a bit more as I profusely apologized to her and awkwardly excused myself and ran away to go put on actual shorts. I thought everything was fine until last night when she confronted me. She said she thought she was fine with it, but coming home the other afternoon made her realize she really wasn't comfortable with the idea of me walking around unclothed. I apologized again, saying I absolutely would have put pants on if I knew she was going to be home early, but I was really sorry that I had made her uncomfortable regardless. She asked that I not walk around without pants anymore, ever. I asked for clarification and questioned why it would matter if she wasn't home, and offered maybe she could text me next time she was coming home early so we could avoid it happening again. She said she doesn't want to be responsible for my actions and would prefer if I would just not do it. I laughed a bit, thinking she was joking. She was not. She wants me to wear pants all the time, regardless of if she's home or not, even when I'm in my room with the door closed. I told her absolutely not. I have no problem putting pants on when I'm around her, but I will not be forced to put pants on in the privacy of my own bedroom. She stormed off, seemingly pretty frustrated, and I don't really like where the conversation ended. But am I the a-hole?
No.
We do have comments.
You are literally wearing shorts in your house.
Covered.
You're wearing shorts.
If things were like hanging out, I'd be like,
yeah,
put
that
on
would be
some-"
maybe not so cool, but they're not. You're wearing shorts in your house.
Yeah. And to say that you can never be unclothed in your room.
You must remain covered for the rest of your life.
I want you to shower in clothes.
I cannot bear to think about your unclothed body.
We have some comments. Comment 1. So if it was just the common areas she wanted you to wear pants in, I'd think it was more reasonable. But in the privacy of your own room, she can F right off with that. I'd suggest just getting something else you can slip on quick. Someone else suggested basketball shorts, which sound perfect for this. And do whatever the F you want in your private space. And OP responds, I'm on the thicker side, so they tend to ride up weirdly, and I have to adjust them pretty frequently when moving around. They're great for lounging, though. Thank you for the suggestion. Comment 2. Perhaps she is uncomfortable because she finds the sight of your legs attractive, and she deep down fancies you, but is so deep in the closet that she refuses to recognize it. Then she thinks, if I get turned on when they walk about like that, then so will my boyfriend. Anyway, not the a-hole. She can't control what you wear in the privacy of your own room, even if she was the head tenant. This was your home before it was hers, and it is her who must adapt. Comment 3. Has this been discussed with your roommate? He needs to know about her 180. What you do in your bedroom is none of her business. And we have an update.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
As for moving out, that's not financially possible for me at the moment. My income has tanked severely since Rumi and I got our original apartment 4 years ago. And because it's his house now, we negotiated a deal that worked out best for both of us until I can get my schooling done and get back on my feet. As part of our original agreement, I called a house meeting to discuss a major problem in a safe space. I started it by addressing Rumi by saying, I'm sure girlfriend has talked to you about the discomfort she has with me in boxers. Here's the kicker. He had no idea what I was talking about. She didn't bring it up to him, and she seemed really embarrassed that I was making a house meeting out of it.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't have made a problem out of it.
Rumi kindly but firmly defended me almost immediately, reiterating that those were the agreed upon rules and wanted to know what had changed. Girlfriend grew increasingly tense as she threw out half-butted responses like, my cheek was hanging out, or they were see-through, neither of which are possible due to the length and nature of the fabric. Shout out Mondays. No. Rumi asked one more time if this was going to continue to be a problem when girlfriend started to tear up. Both of us panicked because she's typically a stoic and calm person otherwise. This is when she revealed she has been struggling with her gender/spicy-related identity for a few months now.
God, wait. No, she is.
Everyone called it. Everyone called it.
She is attracted to OPs.
Her family is somewhat conservative, but not in the God hates attracted to the same gender ways, but more along the lines of, that's not for us. She'd been repressing the thoughts and emotions for a few months at that point, and apparently unexpectedly coming home to me in a pair of underwear and a massive sweatshirt on was the straw that broke the camel's back, cementing her attraction.
Sweatshirt.
Your legs were bare. Cementing her attraction to more than one identity. Apparently, she had been thinking about asking me about it for a few days at that point, but the shock of coming home to that and how it made her feel scared her. And I caught some misdirected frustration/anger. By the way, you should never be scared of running out of episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. We have another update, but...
Dang, wow, okay. I think it's going to turn out okay.
Yeah.
Unless your roommate is upset that his girlfriend is into you.
Yeah, I mean, if this goes beyond just the girlfriend being like, I realize I'm attracted to a lot of people, and goes into like...
I'm in love with you.
Yeah. She might just move out here. She might be like,
she's like, I
bye
have to go.
bye boyfriend.
Yeah.
We had a long conversation about what being queer in both senses of the word meant to me and what she related to most. She is still very much attracted to and in love with Rumi, so we settled with her more than likely being somewhere in the bi to pan spicy related spectrum. Turns out the two of them have the same taste in femme people.
What? Did they both like you?
No, because that was very apparently not the case at the beginning.
I don't... okay.
That was my initial thought, too, though. And before anyone gets any ideas, none of us match each other's type.
Well, apparently you're... Oh, well, I guess match. So you're her type, but she's not your type.
Her and I planning on going window shopping and a fashion show in the premier artisanal boutique called My Closet this weekend to further experience the femme to mask clothing spectrum. Best part is it's super close to our house. All we have to do is walk up a flight of stairs. I'm assuming they're talking about their own closet.
I think so. I think so.
Not the most dramatic ending, but everybody's happy.
Yay!
Yay!
Perfect. That's all we needed.
I love it.